Hey YouTube, High Radical here. Just wanted to come on and share a few things. I haven't been on in a while because of work and a new acquaintance I have, which a new friendship that's been taking up a bit more time, but that's good because it's been good to get to know this person. But anyway, I just had a few thoughts on some things I'd seen today. I don't know if I'll be able to fit them all in this video or if I'll even try. There was somebody, RD1999. I've conversed with him in the past. He commented on some of my videos. I'll have to get to responding to his comments a bit later. I didn't want to put him in the comment box because there were several videos he commented, or several portions of a series he commented on, and I wanted to address that with a bit more depth. But what brings me to YouTube today is I was watching Veritas' review of Veritas, however you pronounce it, Veritas' review of Ben Stein's new movie, Expelled. I haven't seen the movie, but he brought out a point that I've noticed, and it's something I've wanted to get some feedback on, especially from the secular side, but I'll take comments from any side. Veritas brings out the point that I believe it's a Myers or somebody, but it's a point that the likes of Sam Harris have brought out, and he puts out as being implicit in the title of Dawkins' book, The God Delusion. But this attempt to label a belief in God as some kind of mental problem, as some kind of not merely some abnormality, but as an actual illness or defect in humans, as some either evolved flaw or what have you. And the likes of Sam Harris I've seen, and some others, trying to, wanting to see a world in which those who had this delusion, this incapacity to think as they believe would be proper, to be, say, held back from participating in the government, participating in various offices, and so presenting, rather than a religious test, basically, this is what is rational, and if you don't agree with what I believe is rational, then you're not rational. And aside from smacking a lot of what they do in places like China, where anybody who disagrees with the government over there must be insane, and so gives them a convenient excuse for packaging them up in a place that they don't have to call a prison, and doing something that's essentially reprogramming without having to call it reprogramming or torture. Aside from smacking of that, it's also interesting because if you take this to the extreme, there are a great many elements in human nature, core elements in the way we interact with each other. This goes to another video series I was planning on making on the idea of culture and cults, and the connection etymologically between the words and between human interaction and human nature. And I wanted to take this to the point as, if you're looking at something as a defect, as something that screws with the way you apply rationality, then any manifestation of love rather fits the bill. So take, for example, my psychology of love class. They pointed out one thing that happens when people are doing what we would consider falling in love, is that they often will perceive in their companion, at least according the way the psychology sets it up, is that they will perceive a greatness in the person that the rest of the world doesn't see. And I'm not going to comment on whether or not that greatness is there or not, but they pointed out that sometimes this becomes kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, because when one views someone else of being of a greater stature than perhaps the rest of the society does, oftentimes the two can raise each other up. But if you're looking at it with a cold empirical mind, you could see any falling in love, any attachment, which is natural to humans and has been rather tied to our capacity to not only pass on our genes, but pass on our culture, our humanity, our civilization. That these things are based in what you could, in some perspectives, term to be irrationality. The concept of faith is based on this. The irony, though, is that if you get down to what some would consider cold rationality, is you get what's happening right now in places such as Japan, certain segments of the United States population, Europe. You get a demographic collapse, because if people are looking at strictly empirical and rational views, there's not a lot of motivation to create big families or to create really, really strong family bonds. Because, as I said, the love, the being enamored of a husband with a wife, or being enamored, a mother's love for her children, doesn't line up with the cold rationality, and could thusly be fit just as much and just as fittingly as they want to place a belief in God, a belief in the goodness and of one's own children or of one's companion, seeing greatness in them and seeing value, wouldn't always match up with this. And so I'm just going to put that out there, and I'd be curious to see what the responses are, because if you want to mold a society, build a society around strictly what you perceive to be rationality and strictly empirical things, then you've got a lot more in your hand than merely banning God. You've got to rather distort quite a great deal of humanity and what civilization and culture is and has been, and in some ways must continue to be for humankind to perpetuate itself.